Album Review, the podcast where four totally unqualified guys review a different album every week in the hope of broadening our knowledge of music. However, we are easily swayed off topic and have no real idea what we are talking about. Today's album is Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. I thought this album is a bit of a rock mess for the most part.
A mess?
I feel like, and maybe this was just a song of the times or what, I feel like music isn't made like this anymore in terms of mainly the guitar pieces and a lot of the songs. I feel like they were just, look how good I am at guitar, I'm just going to play a mess of noise while you're singing.
See, I actually think the opposite. Because I was worried that was going to be the case. I was like, back in the day, it was about who could shred the fastest, who could play as many notes as possible in a millisecond. But I feel like the guitar part of the songs anyway were well put together, and I thought like it was never even like showing off that much. It was just like, you know, it was all for a melodic purpose. Ew. Sorry, I went all snobby.
I think this is the case for some songs. I say it's about 50-50 on the songs.
Okay.
Probably more like 40-60. Well, like 40% of the songs I feel like the guitar is used well and works with the song. 60% of the time I think it's just kind of
thrashing.
Yes. And it only then works when in the breakdown moments where it is like a solo or guitar bit. I think it's fine. But it's the fact that when that still kind of carries on through the rest of the singing, kind of sounds a bit messy. I think he has a very unique voice, to the point where I'm not sure if in some songs someone else is singing or he's putting on a different voice. Like, there's a few of the songs where he sounds completely different, so I'm assuming it's someone else singing. Like, especially in It's So Easy. Or whether that's just like an effect they've put on, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's just not going for it.
I think it's just him. He's just not using that high part of his voice.
No.
But I feel like that high part of his voice is such an iconic sound for him.
Oh no, definitely.
Exactly.
That's why It's So Easy stands out as a really bad song.
See, that actually stood out as just like, it sounds different. Because of like the thrashy nature of some of the songs, it kind of made some of them blend to me. So when one of the songs had something different, I'm like, I'm not sure if the Will Davey effect is happening here, where different is better, or it's just standing out because it's different.
I had the exact same thing happen. Because I'm not going to lie, It's So Easy was on my top 3 up until yesterday.
What are you saying?
Yeah, because
No, I would agree.
Yeah,
it was the same with me.
It just stood out because it was so different, and I had It's So Easy in my head, just like all day.
It's so easy. easy.
The one reason I like that song is because it reminds me so much of like Nirvana. It's like a very
I would agree with that.
The way he sings it and stuff, like it's
that's why I hate it. Okay.
It's like
I was literally so confused. I was lost there.
Type stuff. I wouldn't say it's in my top 3, but I do understand why I'd like it.
I feel like by modern standards, the length of songs can kind of drag a bit on some of them. Because there's like 3 songs over 5 minutes long here. Mm-hmm. So just by modern standards, it makes it feel a bit draggy on a bit. But it still didn't feel too bad because there wasn't too many songs, right? So there's an album, 15 minutes. It's just slightly on the longer side, but it's still fine. I didn't downrate the album for
it's
it.
15 minutes?
53 minutes.
Oh. I swear you said 15.
Play it back. To be fair, there was a bit last week where we spoke about Will said something and we all said, no, you didn't say that, Will. And in fairness, Will did say whatever he claimed he said.
I did.
But whether it just didn't come through on Discord very well, I don't know.
I remember.
I mean, did it even matter?
Not really.
Oh,
It's just that I was right.
Man, it's a rarity, but it does happen.
It does. Every now and again.
I've written the word slow burn. Oh, I remember what. I know I've written that now.
Slow burger, yeah.
So yeah, this is like a quintessential, like classic rock and roll band, really, aren't they? Guns N' Roses. They're actually, this is the America's greatest debut album of all time, even still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of sales.
It's got like 30 million sales, hasn't it, altogether, something like that.
Yeah. And I think I put Slow Burner is because when I was like doing a bit of research about it, it originally didn't get rated very highly when it initially came out. It was only then after the album came out did they sort of release the singles. They kind of did it backwards. in terms of making the album, and then they kind of just toured with their singles, and that's what then kind of blew them up.
They got blown up.
Yeah, they died. They're all dead.
Fuck. What killed them? Guns.
9/11.
And roses.
Well, you know what they say about roses?
They have an appetite for destruction.
Pricky thorns.
Pricky thorns. That's deep, bro.
Write that on my grave.
Yeah, a lot of the guitars don't sound different enough. I feel like the guitar sound throughout many of the songs is kind of similar, apart from the breakdowns, which are pretty cool.
Breakdowns?
Well, as in the solo parts.
Oh, okay.
I put breakdowns, but I mean the solos. There aren't actually too many
Sorry,
There's a good breakdown in Welcome to Jungle.
When I hear breakdown, I think mosh pit, you know. But it's true. Jazz music has breakdowns, you know. A breakdown doesn't have to be particularly heavy.
No, breakdown's when the tone gets lowered in a song.
No, the breakdown is the part of the song. It's like the bridge almost.
Someone Google it.
Okay.
Find.
I'd say the drop is where it's mosh pit. Not breakdown. Breakdown's when it gets lowered.
Breakdown is a part of the song in which various instruments have solo parts. This may take form in all instruments playing the verse together, or several all instruments individually repeating the verse or solo parts.
Yeah, so it's
nothing about anything getting lower. I don't know what you're fucking talking about with that.
No, I mean lower. I mean I don't know how to describe it. So
I think we're all right here.
Yeah. Probably.
In each,
but more
each
so
in our
me
ways.
than anyone else.
It's like carry on.
Thanks, Joe.
Participation.
Thank you.
My least favourite is Out to Get Me. Or Out to Get Me.
How target me.
Out tiger.
I think because it's one of the ones where it is just noisy guitar the entire way through.
Yeah.
So what my biggest problem I have with the album, just quantified in one song. So that was my least favourite.
I think it was close to being my least, but I do like some of the backing.
Wait, sorry, what was that, Denver? I wasn't listening.
Out to Get Me.
Ah, I see.
Also, did you know, I told Will about this, but in the song Rocket Queen, there's just Axl Rose having sex with a woman.
Right.
In it.
Okay.
In the studio.
That you can just... They had sex in the studio and recorded it and put it on the song.
Nice.
So rock and roll.
I mean, yeah, no, I noticed it in there, but I don't really think much of it.
But it was a drummer's girlfriend at the time.
Because I just hear that noise all the time.
It's like tinnitus.
It's like white noise to you now.
Yeah.
It's just actually just some porno. He's just been playing on a Bluetooth speaker in his house always. So it's just the background noise to my life. Third favourite. Probably the only place up for contention, in my opinion, of the top three. I feel like top two are written in stone. Mm-hmm. Third, I went for Think About You, because it's quite fast and upbeat. I feel like it's got a more unique sound on the album and actually has more of a modern day sort of hook to it.
Wait, what's that? I wasn't listening.
What the fuck?
I think he's trying to do a me here.
To be fair, I missed what song you said.
Think About You.
No, I honestly didn't hear it. Think About You. That was your third favourite.
That was my third favourite.
Okay.
I think mainly because it's one of the few songs on there that sounds like it could be written more today in terms of its structure and the way it's done. Yeah.
What about just the horrible noise? I
liked it.
The way that he says "you" is on par with Post Malone and a dying sheep.
You say that, but Post Malone's modern, so like I say, it could.
No, but I'm saying it's a bad thing.
Oh, but I like that. I like Post Malone though. So
no, I don't think. Did you hear the dying sheep part, or have you just got selected?
Yeah, but you said Post Malone sounds
mixed
like dying
with.
sheep.
No, I'm saying mixed with a dying sheep. The Post Malone comes from the and the dying sheep is the.
Yeah, I don't think that.
So it goes.
That's just
Think
Axl
about
Rose's... It just sounded a bit like the woman in Rocket Queen for a second there. Yeah, I think I liked it. I didn't like hate the way Axl Rose sounded, so that wasn't really an issue for me.
I went lightheaded after that. By the way, I think I nearly passed out.
Second favourite, Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the jungle!
It's just a classic, iconic sound, and even the intro to that own song, and then that song as a whole as an intro to the album, it's just great. It's just iconic.
You're in the jungle,
Whether
baby.
maybe whether it's one of those things of is it actually good, or do I just hear it and think, oh, iconic, I think it's great, or is it actually good? I don't know. It's hard to tell, but the fact that it has done so well for them makes me think it must be good.
It was their breakthrough song.
Is that the song that was in the Black Ops mission? Or is that a completely different...
It's been used in a
thinking
lot of
of-
things.
Bow bow.
Down, down.
Are you thinking of Fortunate Son?
Yeah, you're thinking of
I
Fortunate
think
Son.
I'm a completely different thing. It reminds me of that though, in like ways. Like,
Well, probably because they're in the jungle when that song plays, and they're gonna
Say jungle.
and they're gonna die in the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
Once you bring me to
Checking it out.
Whoa.
Oh,
And
rest in
number
peace.
one,
This is called Album Review the Musical, this session.
number one by a mile, is Sweet Child of Mine.
ugh.
It's iconic, and it's one of the only songs on the album. When I was trying to think, like, why do I like this song so much? And I realised, listened back to it a few times,
Bear with.
that the police sirens in the background.
That's the police. It's saying that's such a generic pick. You should pick something else.
I think it's one of the best ones because it's the one with no noisy guitar riffs in it.
Not the na 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 na.
Yeah, but it's not noisy. Like, that's actually good. It doesn't sound like a noisy mess like a lot of their other riffs do. Like, even the cool like solo breakdowns on the other songs kind of sound noisy. Whereas to me, that's even that iconic riff sounds. It's a clean riff though.
I love that we've stopped trying to describe it and we've just started like making the noises of the songs. That's good. I'm a big fan of
When
that.
did I try and make
Intellectual.
No,
noise of the song?
Joe did.
I did.
Fuck! It's not all about you.
Jesus.
What is it?
But I think
What is
about
it?
you.
Your review or
Can I-
something?
Question for you, Denver. I
Go.
have a question.
Go.
Have you heard like all like the classics in like this album? Like before listening
Yes, I've listened to this album.
No, but what before album review?
Oh, I'd heard this album before, yeah.
Ah, okay, because you just didn't strike me as the type of person to have heard this album, you know. So
I
was just
have this album
'cause-
on CD.
okay, because I had the whole thing where like, the classics are the classics. Like I haven't really heard any of the stuff, but like it was just interesting. Like if you got the nostalgia vibes, you know, that I'm assuming like
Why is Sweet
Everyone
Child
likes
of Mine not your favourite?
no.
I can't. I think that song is so much better than the rest.
I'm
of the
just
album.
sick of
It's
hearing it.
unbelievable. Maybe.
I think that and it was either that or Welcome to the Jungle that could have been easily number one, and everything else.
I think just Welcome to the Jungle's great for its start, and then it's kind of okay the rest.
Right. Well,
Ah.
everything else is a strong meh.
And Welcome to the Jungle. Welcome to the Jungle. What makes Welcome to the Jungle great is its intro and its chorus. Its verses are kind of fall into the same formula as a lot of the other songs on the album, whereas Sweet Child of Mine is just great throughout. And I think it's great because it doesn't follow the same formula as their other tracks. And that's my album review.
What do you think to it as an album? Like
I think it's
summary.
Summary. I think it's got iconic songs on there, but most of it's kind of a rock mess. Is how I'd describe it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it stands up to modern day standards, other than a few of the songs.
It was kind of genre defining at the time, though. That's like another thing. It's like a lot of stuff stemmed
we're
from
not
this.
we're not at the time. We're not in
But it's been
1987.
Obviously, no. But
Thing is, though,
you also
even if
have to
you-
like appreciate what it's kind of done for music nowadays. Like this was just before Nirvana came out, and I can't remember when AC/DC.
AC/DC were before this.
The problem is
Yeah.
appreciation can only take you so far.
Obviously, yeah. Like we have to look at it compared. Well, not necessarily compared to what Is
I'm not
out
going to.
now?
I'm not going to be swayed by facts, reason, or logic. Will.
No.
I go
You
with
know what's
my,
quite
I go with my
interesting,
heart.
though?
I don't expect anyone to like it just for the fact of like what it was, like because there's like production-wise, especially, it falls flat. Like when you think about
For the time, I don't.
For
think
the time,
does.
it was great.
Yeah.
like, but
But this is the thing, right? Even critics, when you like look back, it didn't critically like review very well back then. It's almost like the critics didn't think it was great, but the whole like rock and roll persona around the album as well made people love it. Hence why people bought it. And then now when they look back on it, people are like, "Oh, one of the greatest rock albums," because it's all the people that loved it at the time. Whereas critics didn't think it was that great at the time. Like if you go back now, like when they remastered this album more recently, it's like people think it's the fucking second coming. But at the time, I think that's more just the whole aura around it that people loved about this album rather than its individual like greatness, if you know what I mean.
critics aren't always right.
No, this is true.
You're talking
But,
about
like,
we're
critically,
critics.
it does really well now. Critics think this album is great now,
We're critics.
and we're critics.
We are critics.
It's become iconic with age,
Um,
as most things do.
I'm very surprised that people did idolise the old rock and roll style.
it's just the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm more of a sausage rolls kind of guy.
And Axl Rose has been the only member who's like stayed throughout. But everyone else has chopped and changed over the years.
I can never remember. Like, Axl Rose isn't the guy with massive lips, is he?
No.
Which one's he from? What's that band?
AC/DC.
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Aerosmith, the fucking guy who looks like he took
He
part
looks-
in
What's his
it.
name?
Tyler. Is it
Aerosmith,
Mr. the Smith, Aero.
Can't remember.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. He's beginning to believe.
Hello.
Yeah, that's
He's beginning to leave.
it's who's it now?
Who is it,
Joe.
Neil?
No, because
I'm
It's Joe's
last.
pick.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
it's Aidan.
yeah.
It's Aidan.
Was it me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the first line of my review is just, I'm so glad that music has progressed so much. Because if it was all this, I think I'd be pre-2013 Denver and just not listen to music at all.
I
love that.
I like that.
I'm just saying that this style of stuff doesn't stimulate the music part of my brain in the slightest. It more accurately smacks it with a plank of wood with scissors loosely attached to it. And that's
Like a white noise.
And that's basically a fancy way of saying I didn't enjoy my time with Appetite for Destruction.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Well, it was,
It's
Joe.
not
You're
surprising,
right.
though, is
It
it?
was disappointing. The worst song was, it was definitely between two, but I picked It's So Easy, right?
It's so easy.
Because
easy.
it may have been so easy, but it was so hard to listen to.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, no, God, it's awful. It was between that and Rocket Queen for the weird sex noises. But at least Rocket Queen didn't want to make me hurt small animals.
Because it's so easy.
So now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. My top three are basically just their most famous because the rest of this album is so bland and just nothing at all. Right? Like, even on my final listen, my brain still couldn't differentiate any of the songs. Most of them could just be summed up to, like, iconic or just shit.
I think Mr. Brownstone sounds quite different.
Yeah, but in a bad way. Then I wake up in the morning, go to church around 9. Then I beat my children.
It was, to be fair, Mr. Brownstone was in contention for my third favourite.
Are you even allowed to say Mr. Brownstone anymore?
Well, saying a stone is brown isn't racist.
What? How dare you?
Unless
what it's
stone
about.
is a...
I'm calling the police. This is your final warning.
Sorry, sir.
Third favourite. Welcome to the jungle. Yeah. Because it's gonna bring me to my knees.
Yeah.
But the reason that it's third is just because I'm bored of it. It's so overplayed. I'm just like, whatever.
I feel like all the like classics are kind of just overplayed on
They're
this album.
totally overplayed. They're like.
It's what happens when your songs have been out nearly 40 years.
Well, this is what I mean. I couldn't warrant putting any of the chod in my top 3, but they were the only ones to say anything about. Because now my second favourite's Paradise City, and I've just got the words "nice chorus" written down for that, and that's it. Because the rest of it, you know Paradise City. Everyone knows Paradise City. Everyone knows Welcome to the Jungle, and everyone knows the best song on the album, Sweet Child of Mine.
Yes.
Mainly for the a cappella part in Step Brothers.
Oh my god.
That is like the best scene. And he's like, Darren's gonna come in with a solo.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
I literally put it in the chat this morning. If you go into the music bot chat, it's there.
Oh my god, yeah.
It is the best fucking video.
Is that what that notification was?
Yeah,
I never found what it was.
Fucking, you could go watch it. Just spend 5 minutes watching that. But like, fuck me, it's brilliant.
It is amazing.
All in all, I've been left feeling emptier than the full tub of ice cream that mysteriously went missing in my room yesterday.
What's really annoying now is we're going to have another week where, like, it's been so long since we've either... obviously, this isn't going to be a 30, but, like, we haven't all agreed on a top pick in so long either. And we've had 2 weeks in a row now. Well, I'm assuming Will's put it as his favourite, and I'm assuming Joe hasn't. But it means now we've had 2 weeks back to back where one of us has disagreed. It's just like, so close.
Is this Joe that's disagreeing?
Yeah, well, he already said it wasn't his favourite.
I did.
Could change it if you like.
Which proves that I haven't changed it midway, by the way. Because usually if I disagree, you go, you changed it. I think he said it right at the start. I said, no.
Well.
So, I'll be honest. I feel like my main reason for liking this album is mostly nostalgic, and I can just be pure honest with that. Like, I feel like if I hadn't heard this before, probably I wouldn't like it as much as I do.
No.
But this is like the first album I ever listened to ever, like that I can remember. Like, it just reminds me when I was a kid, and this was like one of Dad's favourite bands. Like, he actually saw him, and he was like showing me all his music, like AC/DC, and that's how I found like Green Day and just all that stuff. And he used to play this album all the time, so I knew like every like start to every song when it was coming on, even though I haven't listened to it for years. Like, it's just kind of cemented in my mind, and it does make me love it for that reason. And it just reminds me, it's just like good memories, you know. But like, I can now listening back to it, which kind of makes me sad, see a lot of the weaknesses in the album. Like, I feel like there's 3 great songs, 2 good songs, and then the rest are kind of just all the same or forgettable. Like, it's just, and it's so disappointing because I remember it being so much better. Like, but then you never know. Like, when you're younger, you're kind of like swayed. Like, you like what your parents like when you're young, don't you? Like, you kind of just love it because they love it. But then you grow out of that as you get older. And obviously we've heard like so many new things now that just kind of, obviously that can take influence from this, but are bettered and better produced, and just and like you've all said as well, like a lot of these classics have been played so much that it's kind of, you just listen to it too much to enjoy it as much as you probably would at the time. That being said, I do think it's a good album. It's not too long. Some of the stuff's quite well written, and I do like the whole like sass of the whole album. Like, it is just pure, whatever that genre was. Like, it's just it's like you'd think of this album kind of thing.
You could tell they were all just having a good time, you know.
Well, they were just fucking drugged up, and they were, if you could summarize that genre at the time, they were just the epitome of that. Like, no, they were. Like,
sorry.
They were.
You could sum it up in one word: absolute whack.
They thing is though, even by modern standards, right? They did a tour in 2016, and it was like the second biggest. Only Ed Sheeran's tour was bigger.
Yeah.
Sorry, they did fucking what?
Yeah,
They did a
come
tour in
back.
2016.
How old are they? Did they come out on stage and be like, "Thank you, Bristol"? And it's
They're
just
not
like
as old as you think.
you're facing the wall, Axel. He's like, "What?"
They're like in their mid-50s.
they're
Axl
fucking
Rose.
what?
Axl Rose is 58, and Slash is 55.
What about? Do you remember like fucking Ozzy Osbourne? How old's he now?
138.
He's dead.
So old.
Ozzy Osbourne's 138.
He never dies. Oh God. That's why he looks like he does look like a dead man walking, doesn't he?
Aaron!
You see, like the video from like the reality show that is the Oz, and like Sharon's just shouting shit at him, and he just doesn't react at all. He has like his face just does not show expression. He just kind of go, it just kind of grunts along. He's like a walking zombie. Legend though.
The Walking Dead.
But yeah, like I say, it's just pure nostalgia from this album, but definitely there's definitely weaknesses that I can see now. The worst for me was Rocket Queen.
Because of the sex noises.
Not because of that. Like I kind of think that's quite not cool, but it's just again like it's like it defines again that genre and just like the whole rock and roll, do whatever the fuck you like, do drugs, it's just that kind of, that's what that era was. So it kind of defines that with the last song. But
do you think, Joe, that that's what your music needs?
What?
Just you having sex on the album.
I mean, that is like the. That's how it sounds. Anyway, so
the screamo in the song is Joe.
It is Joe, just that's him having sex. He's like,
I hate the idea that Joe's just some feral animal.
I'm like a dog barking.
He goes from perfectly functional human being, but the moment the door closes,
It's like a dog that's seeing like a cargo pass.
that's so awful.
just so excited.
Oh my God.
That's so awful.
I'm never gonna not think that now when I think of Joe having sex.
Why do you think
hang on.
of Joe having
No,
sex?
but if Joe describes it enough to us that we have to think about it, right? So, like, now that's another extension of what Joe. Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's beautiful.
What was I saying? So Rocket Queen is kind of the epitome of all the forgettable songs put in one song. It's just like a bit of a mess. Nothing really happens. It's just, and I feel like the backing mess overshadows him even singing in the first place. So, and it kind of, the production on it, I don't like at all. And I don't really get the point of the song, to be honest, other than to just kind of be sassy. Number 3 was Paradise City. Just a classic. It's just the most generic. I feel like we've all got the most generic top 3s ever, right? Except for Denver picking Think About You, which was a forgettable one for me. But Paradise City is great guitar solo, great chorus. Didn't remember it being that long, but it don't feel that long when you listen to it, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Second for me was Welcome to the Jungle. I think the best part, my favourite part in that song, which no one has actually spoken about, is like 3/4 of the way through, where it's like the drum and bass just kind of on their own, and it sounds so cool. I don't know if that's classed as the breakdown.
No, it's cool until he comes in and asks, like, "Do you know where I am?" And I don't know.
That bit. Oh.
It's just, he says, "Do you know where you are?" And I say, "I'm in my room." And he goes, "You're in the jungle, baby." And I turn around, there's a tree there. And I go, and then I'm going to die.
I think the best part of Welcome to the Jungle is just the start. Like, the start of Welcome to the Jungle. It excites me.
I fucking love that whole song, to be honest. I say that part, but I genuinely do think that's a great song. Just the way it's kind of structured. And I guess at the time, it was so... because that was their breakthrough song. Because I think they first... obviously, this is the first album, but they released an EP before this. It was called like something Jungle. I can't remember now. I should have written it down. I think that was on there, and that was kind of the initial like breakthrough song for them. Obviously, like you said, Denver, before they released like "Sweet Child of Mine" as a single, Paradise City after the album came out and stuff. But it's just a great song, and I think genre defining. It's great. And number one, obviously, "Sweet Child of Mine." Amazing, the most nostalgic. It actually made me quite emotional, even though I've listened to it a few times, like loads of times. I just kind of sat and listened to it on its own, and it just kind of reminded me of my childhood, which was really nice. And it's just great solo, and just fantastic. It's a shame that it's been overplayed, but if you can kind of forget about that, it is generally a great song, and probably has the best production, along with "Welcome to the Jungle" on the album. But yeah. Thank you.
Nice sound.
Hello.
I was going to say something.
No,
I've
you say
forgotten
something.
what was I going to say? I can't remember. Couldn't have been. It'll come back to me. I'll interrupt Joe at some point.
Hello.
Go on, Joe.
My review. So, unlike you, Will, I've never really listened to this album before. Ever. I've heard like the classics on it, but my dad didn't listen to shit like this. He listened to Elvis, and that's what I was kind of brought up
And
on.
Frankie Boy.
Far
So,
superior.
and Celine Dion.
The far
you know?
superior style of music.
So it's weird how it's weird, Will, because this is the contrast. You know, your dad listened to kind of like rock and roll music. My dad listened to Elvis. I don't know what genre you'd put him in.
Dad beat me.
And I ended up being the metal kid, and you've ended up being this Biffy Clyro weirdo.
I mean, Biffy Clyro has hints of metal, but
I don't know about that. Anyway,
I mean,
My dad actually listened to a lot of solo female artists.
yeah. Is
that explains you a lot.
You know what's actually mad? My dad, Fallout Boy.
No way.
Yeah, big.
That's quite modern, though.
sick.
Although your dad's not that old, is
That
he?
is awesome.
Big truth.
That
Big
is awesome.
truth.
yeah, your dad's a big like Bon
So-
Jovi fan as well and stuff, though, wasn't he? Like, Bon
Well,
Jovi,
I don't, the
Aerosmith.
problem is I don't like Bon Jovi. I quite
Bon
like.
Jovi.
I do not love Bon Jovi.
You literally forced me.
It's your favourite band, Aidan. What
You
are
know
you
what?
talking
You're
about?
right, Joe. It's my favourite band.
You've made me listen to a lot of Bon Jovi. That's all I'm saying.
There's a difference between like the very specific song "Always" and like every other song written by Bon Jovi. I'm allowed to like some Bon Jovi. I just don't like, you know, what's that one? Living on a Prayer.
I love that song.
You're halfway there.
Whoa!
I quite liked "It's My Life," but then after you get
It's my life.
after you get past that point, you realise that all Bon Jovi songs are the same, and I feel like that's definitely something that all these older bands fall into. It's just like we've got something that works. Let's just write it again, but with different
Let's do it.
lyrics.
So the issue with me with this band is I can't, honest to God, tell whether I like his voice or not. I just can't tell.
That's
Like
fair enough.
it's his own unique thing, you know, and everyone loved it back in the day. But I just don't know if I like it. I don't know. I'm so conflicted about it. And I just,
So describe why you do like it.
because it fits well with the music and it has a lot of energy.
Describe
to
why
it.
you don't like it.
It's so high pitched and screechy, and
Not always.
about 90% of the time though.
But Joe, but that's not always. I win.
So I had a lot of
Sorry,
resentment. Go on.
I don't know.
I just got attacked there. What the fuck?
I don't know. It's just like you always seem to throw out the "but not always" card. It's just like fuck. That man just murdered that child, but not always.
No, you've got to see the good in things, you know.
Well, that was the whole point of the thing that
That
Aidan
was
just
why
did.
I asked, and then you're like, and the ones he brought up a negative, and you're like, but not
Not always,
always.
though.
You didn't say
like-
you didn't say for the
me and
good
Aidan
part.
me and Aidan literally just laid out the pros and cons, and you were like, "Yeah, but you got to see the positive."
Fair
It's
enough.
like, why didn't you say, but not always for the pros?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because you've already said the pros, but I don't feel like... Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Anyway, I had a bit of a resentment because I wanted to like pick different songs other than the classics, and I wanted to so bad, but all the other songs that weren't the classics were just not good. They were just all the same.
I think happens even more so with the more classic bands, right? Like they're only their iconic ones really stem the test of time. Is that the word?
Stand the test.
Stand the test of time.
Like,
But we throw it out all the time with these older bands, don't we? Like you throw enough shit at a wall and some of it will stick. It's just like that's what they did. They just chucked in a full album of Chod, and they were like, one or two of them will be good.
But Guns N' Roses, compared to a lot of other older bands, didn't make that much music, like in comparison.
so,
Sorry.
is that your way of interrupting me? Going.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It
I wanted
fucking
to
worked.
Anytime I'm going to interrupt you, Will, I'm just going to go.
I wanted to say, I feel like this is where like the Beatles kind of don't fit into that in the sense that not all their songs kind of just sound the same, right? They didn't just go to one thing and then stick with that throughout their entire like if you you know that it's a Guns N' Roses song, right? As soon as it plays, you know it's an AC/DC song as soon as it plays. I feel like you could put the Beatles on and there's so much like variety, right? Obviously there's no like fucking screamer, there's no like, but there's so much like different, like sometimes songs play that are Beatles and I can't tell that it's the Beatles. Like there was one the other day, Denver, that I said, is this the Beatles? I can't remember what song it was, but it was, wasn't it?
This is Robinson.
It was like a classic song, but I didn't even know it was the Beatles that sang it. It's just, I feel that's where like that would kind of hold up more than like a band like Guns N' Roses and stuff.
Also, Beatles had the advantage of that all their songs were like short and snappy.
Yeah.
So they never hung around for very long.
No.
They also threw in like a couple of different singers every so often. Like Ringo did a couple of songs. Bless his little heart.
Yeah, I suppose that's like another thing. Like it's never just the same singers. So you always have like contrast between the singers, I guess. Quite cool.
So I actually kind of
So I don't know why I brought the Beatles, but I just thought it was like
No, it's a fair point, Will. I just don't care.
So I think that all these songs are like really well put together. Like I think like all the
Sorry,
guitars
where?
are really...
What on this album?
I think like structurally and like how like the guitars are played. I think it's really
What the
well
fuck
put together.
are you saying?
It makes sense though, really, doesn't it? Because I describe it as just noise, and I describe metal mostly in a similar way.
And then Joe's just like, this is very well structured for a piece of shit. It's just like I can sculpt my shit into like a shape of an Eiffel Tower. It's still my own feces.
It's still
You're just waiting for that 6/ solo, And then...
He's just waiting for that
solo.
That's my favourite. Anyway, Joe. Can you tell us about politics? Yeah, sure. So 7 of Saddam's soldiers sodomized 7 states.
I've remembered what I was going to say earlier.
Well, you've got to go to interrupt me.
No, I'm just going to interrupt you. Stop doing that, because I have to keep cutting that out.
Wait, why are you going to cut it out?
Why are you going to cut it out?
'Tis the season. He sounds like a turkey.
No, I'm not going to cut that out. I mean, every time people go, I'm going to cut it out. I probably won't now that I've made a thing. What I was going to say was, when we said about their tour being the second biggest tour of 20, even of all time, it's like the third or fourth biggest tour of all time or something. But it was the second biggest tour of 2016, only beaten by Ed Sheeran. What I was going to say with that was that I think a part of that was because a lot of the original band members came back who had left. So Slash came back, for example. He's the only one I remember, but there was 3 others who all came back for the 2016 tour. So it was kind of all the best people of Guns N' Roses are back, and I think that hence why boosted it up to be such a big tour for them.
Pretty sure they're named after reindeers, aren't they? So you've got Slash and Prance and Dance, Dixon, Neil.
It's strange that they
Dasher.
didn't use their real names either. Like Axl Rose isn't his real name. Obviously, Slash isn't his real name.
Oh, what do you mean?
What?
What do you mean?
Mr. Slash.
Axl
I'm
Rose is such a
gonna
cool
name
name.
my child after the noise a knife makes when I pass it through something. Slash.
Surely then he would have made. Whoosh,
But isn't Axl Rose just such a fuck's
could have
sake?
been his name.
I love that. You're on a playground, you know, with your mates, and you're just like, oh, you know, come on, boys, let's go get him. Let's go pick on the new kid. Whoosh.
Wait, have you
your
listened to
name?
that new?
You seen that new kid? Yeah, and have you seen his brother?
So the teacher goes. His teacher just was like.
It's the register. And it's just like, right, names: Neil, Graham, Bob, whoosh, Stacy, Ryan.
Never met his dad, pal.
Imagine saying that over the phone. They're like, so how do you spell that?
Never met his dad.
I fucking love that. It's another classic.
Joy-
Denver tries
Oh.
to make the noise of objects in real life.
Do you know what it reminds me of, though? Do you know the surfing guy? And he's like...
You just pop in. You ride the wave. You.
Oh, that interview.
Yeah.
It's like... I love that video. Oh, it's the best video ever.
Like I love how passionate he is about it as well. What a
He
hero!
loves the waves, bro.
I just love the waves dropping. Whoop-ah. Holy shit!
Right, Joe, you can get back on with your review now.
Ah, fuck me. I've lost so... You know what? I was quiet there because I was like, I'm going to hold my thoughts in my head. And I'll never forget when it's time to talk. And now I've forgotten everything.
I like how. Sorry, I'm interrupting you again.
Fuck me!
My
Sorry,
parents were texting me this whole time,
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, you're coming round? Are you coming round?" And obviously I'm like, "No," because lockdown. I mean, tier 3. I'm like, "Oh, I'm in the middle of album review at the moment." So my dad then just starts ringing me.
Brilliant.
I'm in the middle of something, starts ringing.
It's like- oh god.
So
Hero. I'm just pointing out that he's a hero, Joe.
So my least favourite song was Mr. Brownstone.
What?
Yeah, because it was just a big.
Because he's a
nothing song.
racist.
The vocals didn't work well with the guitars. I didn't like the guitars. I didn't like the structure. I just didn't like really anything about that song. So yeah, like I said, It's So Easy. Not even a strong contender for that for me. Like that was really good song for me. I liked it. It's So Easy. So
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It was literally like somebody spitting in my ears.
well, it was just different, and I liked
But
it.
just like proper full-on gobbing, like that.
But I would argue like the reason you might like It So Easy would be the same reason you'd like It's Mr. Brownstone, because they're both kind of different sound.
Yeah, I guess so, but like I don't know. It's So Easy was just a bit catchier, you know.
No, it's not catchy at all. I'm listening to it now. Like this is awful.
So easy.
Like listen to the way you're singing. You sing everything else normally. You try and sing this song, and you're like, it's not easy.
Well, that's like it's like if you try and sing in the same accent as Don Broco, like, but you still like it.
Don't do it,
fuck up.
Don't do it, late.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not even the main
That's
guy,
not the
though.
main
That's the
singer,
other
that's
singer.
the
And he's actually better.
You don't even.
No, that's great. It's great contrast.
What's another Don Broco
Anyway.
song? This is
Good
album review, the
contrast
musical.
because the main guy is actually
Fire,
so
fire,
bad.
fire.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
Don
but-
Broco.
Fire,
Hang on, wait, what's that
fire.
Hunter song about fire?
Bonfire.
Like a bonfire.
My third favourite song, everyone, was "Sweet Child of Mine."
Fuck off.
Fuck
Yes.
you.
It's just
How is that the
overplayed.
third?
I'd heard it too much, and it just didn't stick as the favourite for me. I think
Right, if Welcome to the Jungle is your favourite,
my
your reasons for that
second
being...
favourite is "Welcome to the Jungle."
Oh.
Okay.
Because if it were
So-
that, you were gonna die.
Yeah, from great song. Classic.
Such a meme. It's such a fucking meme. It's so bad.
Well, you know, I said there's 3 great songs and 2 good songs, and then the rest are kind of just forgettable. I feel like obviously the 3 great songs were the ones I put in my top 3. I feel like
What were the 2 good songs?
the 2 good songs I thought was Night Train and Mr. Brownstone.
Night Train was good.
Oh.
I would say, and then I thought all the rest were just kind of like the mess.
What is my favourite, though, you will ask?
I didn't.
It's Paradise City. Best chorus.
Yeah.
Best chorus.
It is best
guitars.
chorus, but it is
shit.
also 6.5 minutes long.
It doesn't feel like that, though, and like it keeps me in it the whole way through, you know?
Actually, no, it's closer to 7 minutes long.
It is closer to 7 minutes.
That is a long fucking song.
It's a long song, but I really like it. It's like a bright, it's like waking up in Vietnam.
Why is it like waking up in Vietnam?
Vietnam, famously a great place to be.
Yeah, just reminds me of that,
Welcome to Paradise City, recruit!
I'd listen
Now
to that
remember,
song
don't
all
go
day.
near the trees, they will shoot you.
And fire be bad. Watch out for that.
Don't touch the napalm. It's hot.
Oh god, not this again.
Not again! Not to get my gun!
Oh no! Pretty disappointed. It was all right. The good, yep. Yeah, that's my album.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yep.
Ratings.
I have one more thing to say.
Oh, okay.
Fuck you. Ratings. He said.
Related to, do you know, the fact of... Well,
beast.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say related to Chernobyl.
it's
again.
Christmas, right? It's Christmas. Yeah. Do you know how, like, these songs,
Last album we did before Christmas.
like, are old now because they've just been overplayed and stuff?
Because they were from the 80s.
How come do Christmas songs never feel overplayed?
Because they only come out
Because they only
once
played
a
it
year.
one time a
Yeah.
year.
But and is it because you reckon it's because you feel like you can only play it in that month as well? Like,
You can, it's bad luck otherwise.
but like it, you'd still think though. Like, I don't think I've listened to "Sweet Child of Mine" all year, and yet it still somehow feels overplayed. Like up until like now.
That is an interesting
you
thing,
gotta
right?
think-
Like, I
I
don't
think-
listen to it all the time.
Yeah, but
it does feel
subconsciously it's on a lot. Like,
think?
whereas like Christmas songs are only subconsciously on in December. Sweet Child of Mine is probably in like adverts and stuff. Maybe, who knows? Aldi, maybe. Sweet Child of Mine,
I
why
just
not?
think it's.
Yeah, it must be from movies and things, right?
Yeah,
it has to
like-
be. Because I don't listen to Guns N' Roses ever.
Yeah.
And it's never played on Lynx FM, which is the radio station on at work all the time.
I don't know. It's weird.
Smooth radio.
It's an interesting idea, actually, like why we think it's overplayed.
It just is. And like you got to think every wedding or whatever that you've probably been to, most of us have the kind of families that Sweet Child of Mine would have come on.
Yeah, some typical. It's like every karaoke,
Yeah, like
and
parties,
like every event.
yeah. This is what I mean. Whereas like you don't go to a wedding reception and they're like, and now it's time to play Mariah Carey.
No, it's just strange, isn't it? Every year, you never really
See
get
that with
sick
Christmas
of Christmas
songs,
songs.
though.
I never.
I
feel
do
it.
kind of get it a bit with Christmas songs, but because of it's the whole spirit of it, you're like, fuck it, get it on.
I don't know. I never get that.
Well, the thing is, it's like radio. They just play it all the fucking time. When you hear it every day on the run up to
Biker
Christmas.
gangs here.
I suppose like, I never listen to radio, so
Yeah, exactly. And
You're
Joe,
in tune with the
Joe
kids.
doesn't listen to music, which is weird.
Never.
It's just me and Aidan, actually.
Yeah.
We get Lynx FM Gold 24/7.
You gotta love it. Have you won the cash register yet?
No, I haven't. I heard someone else won 60 grand the other day. Didn't sound very happy about it, though. He was like, oh, thanks.
I really like when they don't give a fuck. When people win stuff and they're like, oh, brilliant, thanks, Jezza.
It's like, oh, well, how are you going to spend the money? It's like, oh, I don't know.
Probably gonna ask,
Maybe a holiday.
I'm gonna ask for my kids back.
And it's like, oh, just pick it up for son from school. It's like, oh, how old's your son? 28.
It is like that though, literally every fucking time.
And the radio presenter is just still trying to stay like, even if they say something like the
So
most depressing shit, it's just like,
stupid, yeah.
that's great. We'll be back to you after this song.
It's just like, could you imagine if someone just said, like, what are you going to do with all that money? I'm going to go to the shop, buy 7 boxes of paracetamol and pound them down with a full bottle of vodka and fucking die.
That's like,
And they're like,
that
all
sounds
right,
great.
thanks, Nigel from Birmingham.
Ratings 6.
3.
6.
5.5.
Take me down to the Paradise City
It
when
scores-
the...
It scores 20.5. I'm surprised you gave it that low, Joe. I thought initially you were going to give it more than me.
No.
Oh, won't you please take me home?
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the next
up
album?
next?
Next album, boys. So, I feel like we need a bit of a palate cleanser. So I'm gonna go with something that I think Aidan will really like.
That sounds favoritism
Which is
to
a
me.
rare
Yeah, it
thing
does
for
a
me
bit.
to go for, but I've been listening to this specific artist recently, and I like a couple of the songs on this album. So I'm gonna pick this. It is Eden. I think you think too much of me.
Again?
There's only 7 songs. It's only half an hour. So
Is it even an album?
it is.
It is.
Well,
Oh,
it's,
yeah,
it's
no,
on
it-
2 discs. It's
I really like that. I mean, that's such a waste. Like, all the turtles are going to die for that. Oh my god, wait. Hold up the first 4 songs, boys. It's all coming together.
Oh my god, the first
Sex,
song,
drugs, and
Sex,
rock
Drugs,
and
Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And then the
Never
other
even
3
noticed that.
famous things. Fumes, Exo, and Circles.
Do you think it's not a Post Malone cover?
I mean, it might be. Is it?
I don't think it is. No.
It's got a lot of plays, very big.
Yeah.
Listened to this album a few times.
I'll have you, Will.
Yeah.
Oh, have you, Will? Why don't you go get a personality then?
Well, Joe messaged me about it the other day, and I said, yeah, it's great, pick him. In fact, Denver, I played him in the car the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
While you're in a car together, it's tier 3 lockdown.
COVID.
Because we live
We
together.
live together.
Oh, yeah? Name one time. Not
That
always.
time we
Sorry,
kissed.
hold on. Not always.
I don't understand why this is a dig at me. I don't know what I've done wrong here.
Not always, though. I don't always
I mean,
dig
not
at you.
always.
Well, you're not always together, are you? You gotta get to work.
Yeah.
You gotta get to work.
No, we take it in turns. One
Nah.
day I go to work with Will, and then the next day
So
he goes to work with me.
so you're not together, is what you're saying.
Shit, you're right.
Not always, anyway.
Any closing thoughts, Joe?
Did you know that cows' moos have regional accents?